walk me through what's going on in Belichick's board right now, based on what you and he have partnered up with from long ago.
They're sitting there. They don't pick until the third round. So
right now. Let's be honest here. I mean, Malcolm Butler, according to Ian Rappaport, has already struck a contract deal with the Saints, pending trade, which he called unlikely but not impossible.
Right, and here's why I think it's unlikely. Because I think if you're sitting there, if you're Bill, and you say, we know the Saints don't want to offer the 11th first pick in the draft. If you're Bill and you say, do I take the 32nd? Who do I get at 32 that's better than Butler? I could play Butler at $3.5 million this year. If I wanted to franchise him the next year, that's another whatever. Now for 2 years I have him at this number, as opposed to taking a player that I'm not sure is really at 32. See, one thing about Belichick, he's not in a rush to get in the first round because his first round may not have enough. It's not a first-round talent. The year we picked Malcolm Butler, that was a first round. We had a first-round grade on him, so it was easy to pick Malcolm Butler.
Well, what's wrong?
Malcolm Brown. I'm sorry.
But why does he have a problem with Butler? Why can't they hammer this thing?
I don't think he has a problem with Butler. I think they've had a problem trying to re-sign him. I think that's been the problem. I mean, it's two sides to every story. So, Butler wants a contract that's commensurate with this. The one position in free agency, I think this is fascinating. Nobody really does this or runs the numbers.
Yes.
The one position that hasn't been adjusted in inflation based on, like, say, take a player's contract that was signed in 2007 as a corner to prorate it out in 2016,
mm-hmm.
The inflation of those numbers of corners haven't gone up. Actually, it's declined. So these numbers, say Ty Law's contract back then, if you prorated it out, Ty Law would still be the highest paid corner in football based on that contract he did way back when.
Mm-hmm.
So corners' contracts haven't really met the market value because corners are important. You need them, but you need a pass rush to really maximize a great corner.
So let's assume the Patriots have their regular complement of draft picks in a normal year. What is the system that you have?
The system is essentially,
here?
I can't stand it, and it's going to happen for the next 3 days. It's going to drive me. I see him as a first rounder. I think he's more of a like when you describe the player as what round he goes in, never made sense to me, nor it made sense to Belichick or even Ozzie Newsome or people like that. So describe what the player can do for the football team. This is a Bill Walshism. You got to tell me what he can do for our team. Don't tell me what round he's going to go in because. Can you imagine sitting in a room in October? Say you're at Washington State, you're in Pullman, Washington, and you're watching a prospect. You can't sit there and honestly say, I think he's a first rounder. How would you know? You don't even know who all the prospects are in the draft. So you grade the player on what you think he can do for your team. I think this guy comes in and starts. Well, if he's a starter, that indicates he should go early in the draft. Hard to find starters in the NFL. Or I think he's a developmental player. Well, that certainly isn't a first-round pick or a second-round pick.
So these are the delineations you have. You call someone a starter?
A starter, a potential starter, a backup role player, developmental player, or a guy that can't make the team. So
5 categories?
5 categories, but then within those categories, you have verbiage to describe them, and then you break the positions down. Like, if I can formation you off the field, Rich, if I can say you're a defensive tackle, and I think you can only play the run, all right? Brandon Williams for the Baltimore Ravens, let's say, okay? If I go to 11 personnel, which is 3 receivers, 1 back, 1 tight end, Williams comes off the field. That's hard for that guy to earn enormous amounts of money. The Ravens paid him because their view is we're going to play him on third down now. We're going to play him. You're not going to formation him off the field any longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are the kind of things that this grading system did. We tried to make sure that if you want to grade a guy high, he can't be graded. He can't be formationed off the field. Or if you want it, and there's a cap to which you can grade a player to. So a guy that can only do this may only get a 62 grade, which is not a starting grade. So there's a lot of different variables within it.
And then when the draft hits, you correspond to your round you're in and say that this is too early, this is too late.
This guy's not this. Why would we pick a backup in the first round, or why would we pick up potential starters? The draft should go first round starters, second round potential starters, third round potential starters, fourth round. Hopefully you can get a potential starter there. Usually it's wear it out, and then it's either backup or developmental players as you go forward, or a special team or a role player.
So what was Tom Brady?
Tom Brady was a misevaluation. I think they'd be the first to tell you. Look, they probably graded him as a backup role player, and he should have been graded as a starter. Hard to do. We all make those mistakes. I mean, those are the ones that you say, thank God. We drafted Charles Haley in the 4th round in 1986, and I can still remember Bill Walsh asked one of the coaches, where would you draft him? And the coach said, well, I don't know. I'd pick him in maybe the 10th or 11th round. And Walsh looked at him and said, if we like him, we're going to pick him. And this is where we learned it. And Walsh said, doesn't matter where we pick them, it matters how they play. And that
sounds so simple, Michael. It sounds
but that's not how we talk about them. The only day we talk, the day after the draft, on Monday, when I come back here next Monday, we'll talk about what role, how the player will play for the team that just drafted him. We will not discuss where he was picked. We'll discuss his role and how that. The only time we do it is leading up to the draft, and it kind of makes, and then they walk around, well, he was a second-round pick. You talked about Bortles. Well, he was the 4th pick overall. No, Bortles is playing like this. That's how he's playing. It doesn't matter where he got picked. It matters how he plays. But that's really becomes a problem. It's been one of my pet peeves in life.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.